Hi, today I'm going to talk about consistency. Now, consistency is very common in high performers, high performing business leaders, high performing business owners, and again, high performing sales professionals. The consistency is in their behaviors and in their process. And just in what I mean by behaviors, it comes down to things like emotional intelligence and self-awareness. They're consistent in that space. So when they face challenges, what tends to happen is they have that composure about them, and you may see a slight elevation in emotion or something like that, but it's not really to a high degree. They've got that mindset that they can work through the challenges more effectively and without disrupting all those around them. So they have that consistency in their behavior. When you look at their habits, they generally have consistency in their daily habits. The way they structure their day, their activities of that day, the interaction with the stakeholders, and they're very controlled and again consistent across that. So why is consistency so important, you might ask? Well, do we have to be so regimented? The reality is, with that, you get optimum performance of the individual. And there's certain things you can do to help develop that consistency in yourself. It gives you a greater feeling of being calm, more in control of your destination within your careers and also in your personal life. So how do we start? Well, first of all, it's a great believer to put a plan in place. Put your goals into place, know what your motivators are, which we spoke about in the last session, and writing them down, what's going to keep you on track. Often referred to the why you're doing it. So that is you kind of like the fuel and the energy, like turbo fuel, I call it in professionals, knowing clearly what your goals are and having them set in writing and your objective longer term. What that allows is you start to kind of focus more on a longer term approach rather than the reactiveness of day to day. And again, you then start to adapt consistency in your habits. So you structure out the important parts of your day. So what's critical for me today? What do I need to achieve? What's my priorities? What are my time bandits? What are things that I don't need to get involved in? That consistency, again, allows the individual to, I always touch on this, 6,000 thoughts plus going through your human mind a day. It enables them to capture the ones that serve them well and just release those thoughts that aren't of any importance or a distraction to where they're focusing on. So they become consistent in that approach, and this is what I want to look at your own approaches. Look at what your typical day looks like. How do you structure it? Are you using the tools around you to become consistent? Things like your calendar, communicating to others and other stakeholders as well throughout the day of your availability. Things like that allow you to become more consistent in the delivery within your profession. Weekly reviews or daily reviews. Those that are first starting out in this space of wanting to become more consistent, I recommend you sit down at the end of each day and do a review of the day. What worked well for you? What didn't work well for you? Maybe where did you waste time? Where did you not spend enough time? Things like that. It's not about being overly critical, but it's just being mindful and keeping you focused on that further future development. What I see often in sales professionals is they are consistent at the beginning when they're growing a portfolio, but then once it starts to become larger and they've got more demands within their role, same as in leadership, what tends to happen is they start to struggle a little bit with the consistency. Because they had a smaller workload before, now all of a sudden they can't get out to see their customers enough, or they're not. If you're a leader, you're not spending enough time with your team. You're more kind of being trapped with meetings throughout the day, things like that. So it becomes more difficult, and that's where the stresses can align as well. So how do you fix it? Well, it's your operating rhythm. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to operate effectively how you used to when your circumstances have changed and you haven't changed your operating rhythm. So you haven't reviewed what your actions and your activities are for the day. What are you taking on in your roles that aren't really critical for you and they can be kind of referred elsewhere or kind of even put aside to another time. So have a look at your operating rhythm as such, because that allows you to be consistent. Now, there will be things, interruptions that come day to day, and like you say, you might have one day that is more challenging than the others. But it's at that point, it's no point, it's like when you get a flat tyre, you don't go and slash the other three because you've got one flat tyre. So just reset, and we have a session coming up about how to reset. That will be in our next session. So how to reset quickly, look at that operating rhythm again, what needs to change, what's critical, and what can we be more consistent in. Examples of this, which I like to share with people, is there was a high-performing salesperson I used to work with. He used to do a weekly email out to his clients and provide an update of the product. It was consistently done. His clients were kind of expecting it to come through because he was consistent with it. So it was their weekly update coming out from him. It was a touch point, and basically he was consistent with behaviour. His time of work, hours of work were consistent, and again, that mannerism and that behaviour and emotional intelligence was consistent as well. So he just was more in control of his day. Hopefully that's given you a bit of pointers. Again, look at consistency of a skill set you constantly have to develop. Be mindful of your surroundings and your interruptions throughout the day. Review your work time. Take a step back, take a breather, and just reset, and then realign your operating rhythm. Hopefully this was a helpful topic on consistency. And again, we're going to cover in the next session the great reset, how to reset your mind when you're facing those challenges and overcome them quickly, whether you're in sales, leadership, or a business owner. If you'd like development for yourself or your team, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a chat, and have a great day and week ahead.